In this session, we are going to discuss about manual code signing. Up to this point, we identified the gaps in integrity, trust model, and life cycle management. Now we must address the how. Many organizations believe they can fix these changes gaps with more people, more meetings, and more spreadsheets. But manual control only works for small teams and low volume. At enterprise scale, manual control does not struggle, it collapses. It fails not occasionally, but inevitably. Manual control are built on a flawed foundation. They assume predictable. They assume stable teams, predictable releases schedules, and a limited volume of artifacts. But the modern enterprise operates in a state of constant flux. We have a high turnover, bursty release cycles, and massive volumes of code. A process that relies on a human being who cannot survive in a world where everything changes every day. The sheer math of modern software is the enemy of manual control. Large organizations now produce thousands of signed artifacts every single day, from microservices to small patches. No human review board, no matter how dedicated, can keep up with that volume. When the review board has to look at 500 requests a day, they stop reviewing and start rubber stamping. At that point, your control is an illusion. In a manual world, we are forced into a false choice. Do you want to be fast or do you want to be secure? When governance slows down a release, it is seen as a bottleneck. Engineering teams are incentivized by speed. Therefore, if the manual process takes 2 days and the build takes 2 minutes, teams will find a way around the process. In the battle between speed and friction, speed wins 100% of the time. Every manual system has a fast track for emergencies. Urgent security patches, critical hotfixes, and executive requests routinely bypass the normal manual checks. But as the enterprise scales, these emergencies happen every week. Over time, the exception path becomes the primary path. When the safe process is only used for non-critical work, your control model is effectively broken. Manual governance relies on human interpretation. Two different security officers might interpret the same policy in two different ways. This results in inconsistent enforcement across the company. Team A might be held to high standards while Team B gets a pass because they have a different reviewer. This uneven risk exposure makes it impossible to define a clear security posture for the entire enterprise. Manual checks are asynchronous. They happen either long before the signing or long after. They don't happen during the event. Signing decisions, however, occur in real time. If there's no automated gate at the moment the key is accessed, there is a massive window of execution where unauthorized code can be signed before anyone even notices. When you rely on manual controls, the audit becomes a massive, expensive project. Because the evidence is not collected automatically, multiple teams have to stop their actual work to perform the historical reconstruction. They spend hundreds of man-hours hunting for tickets and emails to prove a signature was authorized. This manual effort is a hidden tax on the company that grows larger every year as you scale. We must acknowledge the human element. People are not control systems. As the workload increases, security and engineering teams suffer from alert fatigue. They get tired, they take shortcuts, and their discipline erodes. This drift is invisible until an incident occurs. A manual system is only as strong as the most tired person on the team on a Friday afternoon. Finally, manual systems rely on tribal knowledge. Control often depends on a few knowledgeable individuals who know how things work. When those key people leave the company or change roles, the controls often collapse because no one else knows where the key are or how the approvals are supposed to happen. You have not built a system, you have built a dependency. The ultimate consequence is that trust becomes optional. When governance depends on human consistency and manual effort, it eventually disappears under the pressure of business deadlines. Leadership loses the ability to guarantee the integrity of their software because the system they rely on provide that guarantee is not built for the scale of the business. To conclude this topic, we go with this. If governance cannot scale, it will be bypassed. Manual code signing control inevitably fails because it is a 20th century solution for a 21st century problem. To protect the enterprise, we must move beyond manual checks and move toward automated policy-driven governance, where the authority to sign is cryptographically bound to the approval.